Alright, so this is my KOZmo deck. This is not the OTK variant. I'll be making the video for that next. This is just a basic, you know, just a basic core build. Obviously, you're just using them as is, without too much extra fancy, you know, combos and stuff like that. Using, you know, all the first wave of the KOZMos. Obviously, we'll get more support down the line. We got Forerunner, we got Slip Rider, Good Witch, and Farm Girl. Currently, I'm using Shining Angel because Shining Angel helps me get to Farm Girl quickly. Farm Girl helps me get in, you know, to add any of the other KOZmo monsters I choose. Obviously, Forerunner is their boss monster. Has a really good effect. Can't be targeted by your opponent's card effects, which is very useful. You don't have to worry about stuff like, you know, some Sky Blaster, a 101, you know, even a Big Eye, or even a Cyber Dragon Infinity. Don't have to worry about your opponent stealing your boss monster. So that's really good that your boss monster protects itself from your opponent's cards. It's good against, of course, Deep Prison, Phoenix Chain, Breakthrough Skill, stuff like that. Book of Moon, even, you know, your opponent's offering to Doom or whatnot, your opponent's lands, you get the idea. Can't be targeted by your opponent's card decks. You could target it, your opponent can't, which is great. During each of your standby phases, you gain 1,000 life points, which is good. You do use up some of your life points to do certain effects, and so gaining it back is awesome. Plus, just gaining life points is awesome only because, hey, it's harder for you to lose if you have more life points. The more life points you have, the harder it is for your opponent to beat you. You know, they gotta work harder. Unless they side in like Bad Reaction Samuchi or something like that to make you lose life when you're supposed to be gaining, right? But, you know, going on, if this card is destroyed by battle or card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card from your graveyard to special summon at level 6 or lower KOZmo monster from your deck. A decent target, of course, would be Slip Rider. You can summon him. As you can see, he's level 5. When he's normal or special summoned, you can target one spell or trap card on the field and destroy it. So he's a built-in MST. Gotta love that. Get rid of that Backrow. Then, if this card is destroyed by battle or card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card from your graveyard to special summon one level 4 or lower KOZmo monster from your deck. You know, so it's pretty good. Even, you know, even if you run into like a Mirror Force or something, or Secret, or you know, something that will destroy your monster, maybe even a Trenchal Tribute or something, or you get Dark Hold, you'll get a +1 out of it. So, you know, gotta love that floating, right? So let's say this gets Dark Hold, then you can bring this out, then use this to pop one of your opponent's Backrow. You know what I mean? Let's say this gets popped or destroyed by battle, you can just bring out Good Witch. You know what I mean? So that's all good and gravy. Then we got KOZmo Good Witch. During either player's turn, you can banish this card to special summon one level 5 or higher KOZmo monster from your hand. Of course, she has to be on the field. Same goes for Farm Girl. They have to be on the field to apply that effect. But it's a spell speed 2 because it can be applied on either player's turn. That even includes battle phase, so it's chainable. So if you summon and somebody tries to bottomless her, you can, you know, activate her effect and, you know, swap out and drop Forerunner, and there you go. You just dodge bottomless. You could also summon her, and if your opponent plays Trenchal Tribute, for example, you can chain her effect, tribute her, summon Forerunner, right? Forerunner will summon. Forerunner will get destroyed by Trenchal, then he'll activate his effect, and from the deck you can summon a Slip Rider. Use Slip Rider, pop back up. You get the idea. A lot of fun, a lot of good stuff. So it's like a lot of outs to your opponent's outs. So that's what makes this archetype really, really strong and really popular. Alright, I already mentioned you can special summon from your hand a low 5 or higher KOZmo monster. She has a secondary effect, which is once per turn, you can pay 500 life points, then target one face-up monster your opponent controls, and change it to face-on defense position. So she has a built-in Book of Moon, so that's useful. That effect, you can only use it on your turn, of course. That'd be awesome if you use it on your opponent's turn, right? If you use it on your turn, obviously it makes it easier to run some monsters over if you put them face down, just by paying 500 life points, which is, worth the price. Then we have KOZmo Farm Girl. She's a level 3, 1500 attack. Same thing. If she would be bombless, you can activate her chain her effect and summon something else. You can banish this card. Yeah, I already mentioned that, to summon something level 4 or higher. Her secondary effect is when this card inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can pay 500 life points to add one KOZmo card from your deck to your hand. Her first effect can only be applied once per turn, but her second effect can actually be used twice. As in, if you have a second copy of her, you can deal damage for both, pay 1,000 that turn, and grab 2 cards from your deck to your hand. The only thing is, you won't be able to use both Farm Girls' banish effect to summon a level 4 or higher. I tried, can't. But you get the idea that that's the first part is once per turn, but the second part is pretty nice that it's not once per turn. And you can add any KOZmo card. You can activate. You can add a field spell, of course. Their Kozmotown field spell, which is really good because it lets you grab your KOZmo monsters out of play, add them to your hand, so you can constantly recycle them and create a nice little loop that way. They'll probably create more spells and traps, so you'll be able to use her to add spells and traps. So definitely waiting for that extra support. But you can use her to add monsters, which is typically what you do. Obviously, one of your top targets will be Forerunner, because he's really, really awesome. He's really good that way. And the fact that he starts the chain, because if he gets destroyed by battle or card effect, they'll bring him out. If he's destroyed by battle or card effect, brings her out or her out. Which is lovely in all the different ways. We got Shining Angel because it helps you get to her. Once they create some more support, we'll swap that out for something else. Maybe they might make a monster similar to Shining Angel. They could potentially summon any of the big ones just by dying by battle or something. But anyway, Shining Angel, he's level 4, so you can use him with Good Witch and go into any of your rank 4s in your extra deck. You don't really need an extra deck, but hey, better to have and not need it than to need it and not have it, right? Typically, you just be winning with just the main deck stuff. You don't really need to go into your extra deck. Kozmotown. Once per turn, you can target one banished KOZmo monster and return it to your hand. If you do, lose life points equal to its original attack. Its original level times 100. So the highest you'll be paying will be like 700, because he's the highest level in the deck right now. So the most you'll be paying is 700 to add something out of play to your hand, right? So that's, again, it's worth it. The fact that it's under 1,000, it's all worth spending that life points, right? Because if it was like 2,000, 3,000, stuff like that, it would be kind of might not want to do that often or not at all. But since it's so little life points you're sacrificing, 700 is nothing. It's worth it to get something this nice back to your hand. And then you want to have, obviously combo it with Farm Girl or Good Witch, and then just get it onto the field as soon as possible. Second effect is once per turn, you can reveal any number of KOZmo monsters in your hand and shuffle them into your deck. Then draw cards equal to the number of cards you shuffle into your deck. So it's kind of like a magical mallet. It lets you, swap out your KOZmo monsters in your hand for, for drawing cards. And you could potentially draw into other stuff like, a Kozmotown. So you have your second copy, Kozmotown, this and that, and anything else you have that you might need, like an MST or something. But typically, I don't use that effect. I've never really had a need for doing that. But it's useful if you are in a scenario where all you have is just the big boys. you know, you got the Forerunner and the Slip Rider, then you might want to activate the effect to hopefully, you know, at least get the lower level ones, or at least get the big one with one of the lower level ones, and then boom, you got your combo there. Let's see. Okay, now its third and final effect is if this card is in your field zone, is destroyed by a card effect, you can add one KOZmo card from your deck to your hand. That is pretty strong, because you'll play it. If your opponent changes MST to it, it will get its effect. It'll get popped, and you can just add another Kozmotown if you want. I mean, ain't that crazy? And then play the Kozmotown. So it's like your opponent really failed on the whole MST play, because you're going to get a +1 out of it anyway. So you're just thinning out your deck. Of course, the added thing is you can play a Kozmotown, right? Use this effect, then MST it yourself. You know, destroy it yourself. Get another copy of it, play that new copy, and then play that, which is all gravy. Now, this is with the current effect. If they change it and make it where, you know, only once per turn you can use either one of the effects, then that's understandable. Then you can't do that shenanigans. But currently you can, so we'll go with that for now. But you could also grab any of the monsters if you want. But I like the idea of, like, if I play the field spell and the field spell gets destroyed, I'll just get another copy of the field spell and play that field spell. And then continue whatever play I was going to do with Kozmotown in the first place. Soul Absorption is very helpful in life gaining. I could potentially use red screen in this deck, because, you know, by stalling with red screen, you know, I could just gain life points just from Forerunner alone. So I could do that. In this build I'm not, but I could take out the Oasis of Dragon Souls and put in the red screen and, you know, stall for the win, as it were. But Soul Absorption obviously is pretty useful. It's definitely awesome when you have 2 on the field, because that's 1,000 for every time you banish something, which is always awesome. But think about most of these effects, like this costs you 500 to activate, so the ability to gain that 500 back is good. So you're kind of essentially playing it for free. Same goes for Farm Girl. You use the field spell to add any of these back to your hand. Like, let's say you add this back to your hand by paying 500 life points, and if you summon Good Witch Banisher to summon him, you'll gain that 500 back. You get the idea. But if you have 2, it's even better, because instead of you just gaining your life back that you spent, you're gaining extra life, and more life is better because you'll live longer. You could take out Soul Charge if you want, put in Macro Cosmo, Dimensional Feature, whatever floats your boat, because that just increase your soul absorption's ability to gain life. And having extra life is just good in general, because you'll live longer that way. You'll be able to play longer, and hopefully win, because you're able to stay in the game duel longer to win. If you're in tournaments, if you have more life points at your opponent when time is up, you could win in time, stuff like that. So there's many reasons why gaining life is good. Also, you'll have the life points to be able to afford the effects, so that's very important. You could also avoid Gaga Cowboy, from like gaming you type of scenarios, because you can gain that little extra life would matter, because you can kind of avoid just being in the threshold of that 800 damage from Gaga Cowboy. So gaining extra life is useful. Also to remember that Good Witch and Farm Girl, their effects can be activated on either player's turn. So if you have a good 2 Farm Girls on your side field, for example, and you banish one to get the effect, and you'll gain life, and now since you can't banish the other one, you could wait till your opponent's turn and then banish it on your opponent's turn and gain another one. Obviously, something you want to do is, if you have 2 Farm Girls, use one to summon a Forerunner during your turn, gain 500 or 1,000 or 1,500 if you have all 3, and then the opponent's turn banish the other Farm Girl to summon another Forerunner. because both can't be targeted, so you don't have to worry about your opponent using targeting effects and whatnot. They would have to kill your monster by battle or by like dark hole or something, but then you benefit from that because you get the effects, so you gain life that way. So that's a combo I like to use. Galaxy Cyclone, of course, pop a face down, set spell or trap during your main phase, except the turn it went to a graveyard. You could banish it to destroy one spell or trap, face up spell or trap on the field. You can use it to destroy your Kozmotown to get its effect, so that's useful in case you need a monster and there is none out of play. Let's say hypothetically, you play Galaxy Cyclone from the graveyard to pop the field spell and use the field spell to add, a Kozmo monster from your deck to your hand. Obviously, it's useful against Backrow. You want to get rid of your opponent's Backrow. MST against Vanity's Emptiness, Light Imprison, Skill Drain, anything of that nature. Anything you want to get rid of. That's where this comes in handy for, obviously. Wind Blast is good against cards that can't be destroyed by battle or card effects, or you just don't want to destroy them. Like, you don't want to destroy your opponent's Kozmotown in case you're in a mirror match. It's useful against, against the Good Witch and the Farm Girl, prevent them from getting their effects, getting their effects off. Well, obviously, what will happen is that once they use their effects, they'll leave. They'll let's say they bring out Slip Rider. You can use very Wind Blast on them. Obviously, you don't want to use it on these monsters themselves because they'll just chain to it. But you definitely can use this on that, because if you destroy this, it'll get its effect, so you don't want to destroy it. So throwing this back to your opponent's top of their deck, would be useful. But if they have the field spell, obviously they can combo. You get the idea. This is useful against, it can slow your opponent down, so that's always important to have field advantage, but also have card advantage. You do give up a card to activate this, of course, but the fact that your opponent is going to lose a turn of being able to draw something new and something useful, while you're going to gain the ability to draw something good and useful. And by the time they do draw something useful, you already drew 2 cards that were more useful. That's the theory, right? Black Horn of Heaven, that Pendulum Hate, right? It's useful against Ritual Beasts because of the contact fuse things. Synchro Summoning, Exceed Summoning. Pretty much everybody exceeds now. There's some decks to synchro, of course, like Yang Zings and whatnot, so this would be useful against them. This is useful, generically against any inherent summons like a Cyber Dragon, JD, stuff like that. You can use it against somebody's Chimera Tech Fortress, especially since you do have machine type monsters in your deck. If they summon Cyber Dragon, summon Chimera Tech, you can Black Horn of Heaven the Chimera Tech. Call of the Haunted, so you can, obviously reuse your monsters, the ones that are in the grave anyway, because, unless you actually use their effects, but if you discard them or somehow they end up in the graveyard, you can just call a Haunted and get them back. One way I get them to the graveyard is obviously Wing Blast. I use this, I could probably send that to the graveyard, then use Call of Haunted to bring it back. If Call of Haunted gets destroyed, it destroys this gets its effect, so it's all gravy all the way. And there's a couple times where I just drew the big monsters, Wing Blast, Call of Haunted. It's like, alright, I still can summon the big ones, at least I'm not stuck with the big ones in my hand. I can just discard it, then Call of Haunted. So for that idea, obviously I also threw in Oasis of Dragon Spring, so I can, keep that concept going where I could just keep bringing back the front runners and the Slip Riders after they're sent to the graveyard. And if I don't use their banish effect, but I could use the banish effect, of course, to summon something, and then use the field spell to add them back to the hand. Then if I end up discarding them for Wing Blast, I can call the Haunted and do some extra shenanigans, or just use Oasis. And you get the idea, because Also, Call the Haunted always is useful for Shining Angels, so that we can use it defensively. That's another thing. Is obviously you can use these defensively. Soul Charge, of course, is just for the same thing, but it also helps you go into some exceed plays, because we got level 7s, level 5s, level 4s, and 3s. So you can go into Dracossack, Big Eye with the level 7s. You can go into Zen Mayo or Cyber Dragon Nova, which will allow you to go into Infinity, of course, by using the Slip Rider. Since the light machines, you can use 2 of them to make Nova, and then Nova will let you summon Infinity. And then you have Infinity's powerful effect, of course. Then we have some rank 4s that you can use. If you don't want to do or can't do the double slip rider combo, you can do like Shining Angel and Good Witch combo with Soul Charge. Bring out Ptolemaios, whatever, Teller Knight onto the field and use his effect with 3, when he has 3 materials, detach all 3, bring out Nova, and then you can summon Infinity on top of Nova. So you still got that, the Infinity combo in there. Acid, Zen Main, and Leviar, your rank 3s. You'll use kOZmo Farm Girl for that. So 2 of them can go into an Acid Golem in case there's skill drain on the field. You can just take advantage of that. Zen Main, of course, it's useful. 2100 defense. If it would be destroyed by battle card effect, detach a material instead. During the end phase in which this effect is activated once, you can destroy a card on the field. So that could be very useful. Leviar lets you bring back anything level 4 or lower from out of play onto your side of the field. That can be very useful. If you just for some reason don't have no more Kozmotowns, but you do have the ability to make 2 to get 2 farm girls on the field, like Call Haunted or something, and then just overlay the 2, make Leviar, and then grab, Kozmo Witch, I guess, out of play, summon it, or just grab something out of your opponent's out of play zone and get the effect. Emerald will help you recycle your extra deck monsters, as well as any of your main deck stuff, like your Shining Angels and whatnot, so that way you can reuse them. So you can keep, you can keep dueling for the long grind, so you don't run out of resources fast. Plus, you get to draw a card after applying this effect. Exciton helps you clear the field. Especially helps, by clearing the field, it helps you set up the OTK later on when you're ready to do it. Even though this deck doesn't have doesn't have a lot of the cards that will quickly help with the OTK, you can obviously still OTK, because there's still the core cards are still in the deck to OTK under the right condition, or at least you can deal over 6,000 damage. That's more than good enough in many duels, because your opponent will probably be weak by playing stuff like Warning or something, or they'll play a Soul Charger, or they'll do something, or they'll sacrifice like 2,000 or more life, or you'll just attack them and deal some damage before you perform the little combo and deal the 6,000 plus damage. 101 Silent Honor Arc. In most of these cards you should already know the effect. 101, detach 2 materials, take one of your opponent's special summon a type position monster and attach as a material. This card will be destroyed by battle or card effect, detach a material instead. So it's a 2100. They could essentially survive almost anything, battle and card effects that destroy anyway. When Castiel the Sky Blaster, detach 2 materials, target 1 face-up card on the field, and throw it back into the player's deck, and the player shuffles it. Secondary effect, detach a material, target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls, and put it face down defense position. Typically, you're just going to use the detach 2 part. There's no need to use the other effect. Diamond Dire. Once per turn, target 1 card on the field, and one beast or beast warrior or winged beast monster you control, and destroy those cards. Since he's a beast, you could target himself and a card on the field to destroy both cards. So that's useful for getting rid of anything. Steel Storm Roach is good against any level 5 or higher. monster that inherently special summons. It's like another, it's like another Black Horn of Heaven. So that's essentially what it is. Just another Black Horn of Heaven. It could be useful against your opponent pendulum summoning a monster, or contact fuse like a Chimera type fortress or a Ritual Beast monster, or a synchro summon. This would be useful against that, or Judgment Dragon or Cyber Dragon. You get the idea. It won't be useful against like the Front Runner or the Split Rider, for example, because they're being summoned by a monster effect. Since they're being summoned by an effect, they don't count. That don't count as an inherent summon. That counts as an effect summon, an effect special summon. Wind up Zen Myome. You can make him with 2 Slip Riders, and detach a material, destroy 2 set cards on the field, and destroy them. So it's good for getting rid of Backrow, or just 2 set face down monsters, or a set monster and a set Backrow, whatever what you want or whatever you need. Number 11, Big Eye. You use 2 front Forerunners for that. And you can make a Big Eye and steal somebody's monster. You can make Dragosack and be able to detach a material, make 2 tokens. You could tribute a Phantom Beast monster, either him or a token, destroy a card on the field. Can't attack the turn you use that effect. Big Eye, when you do use this effect to steal a monster from your opponent, you cannot attack with Big Eye. And the Cyber Dragon Nova, it's really only there so you can make them, use them to bring out Infinity. Infinity's effect, once per turn you can detach a material to negate the effect of a spell, trap, or monster effect that was activated. Once per turn during your turn, and then that first effect is during either player's turn. Once per turn during your turn, you can target one face of attack position monster and equip it as a material to this card. This card gains 200 attack for each material attached to it. Here are some potential support cards since there are machines in the deck. And if you want OTK, you can use Limb Removal to pump them up. They are light. You can use Honest. I guess I'll show it to you right quick if you don't know what Honest looks like. But you should. You can see you can use 2 right now, so you can use 2 Honests if you want. 2 Honests is the Limb Removal. Helps you, OTK better. Emergency Teleport, since Kozmo Farm Girl is a psychic that's level 3 or lower. If you want to get her out faster, you can throw that in, because you already have Shining Angel to help you get her out. Throw that in to help you get her out, so you have a better chance of getting her out. Plus, you can use this to get her out, and then normal summon summon a Good Witch and have 2 monsters on the field and help you set up the combo of attacking, dealing 1500, then adding 4 to the hand, then attacking with the Witch, then tribute the Farm Girl to summon the Forerunner, attack with that for 28, then tribute the Witch to summon another 28 if you just so happen to have another one, or a Slip Rider, whatever you have, and then attack and deal damage. So if you attack for 15, then attack for 18, that's 3,300 damage. And if you happen to have 2 Forerunners, obviously Farm Girl will help you get one of them. So if you have one already in the hand, that's awesome. You have 228, so you can summon. That's 5,600 on top of the 3,300. 5633. That's 8,900 or a little bit more than that. The point is, it's over 8,000. It's more. And that's an OTK. So essentially, that's what you want to do. You want to get Farm Girl, and even Kozmo Good Witch on the field when your opponent's wide open for the attacks. Attack them. Grab a Forerunner. Hopefully, you already have a Forerunner. If not, if you have the Slip Runner that works too, drop them. Attack with them afterwards, and just boom, OTK. So, Cyber Dragon is also useful because one, you can special summon it and then summon tribute and summon this. You can special summon this, right? Cyber Dragon. No, you can't do that in that order, right? No, yeah, you could do it. Cyber Dragon, then summon a Good Witch or a a farm girl. Use her effect to summon the Slip Rider. Slip Rider will let you pop Backrow. Now you have a level 5, another level 5 overlay. You can go into Nova. Nova gets you into Infinity. That's a combo right there you could do. Offerings to the Doom is good because Offerings to the Doom will let you destroy Forerunner. Because let's say for some reason you don't have, you weren't able, you didn't have an extra Forerunner or even a Slip Rider in your hand, but you did Farm Girl and Good Witch. So you attack, you use this effect to get Forerunner, you tribute this, bring out this, attack with this, play Offerings to the Doom to destroy this. This will let you summon from the deck a Forerunner. Then you can attack with a Forerunner and perform the OTK anyway just by using an Offerings to the Doom and Good Witch and Farm Girl. So those 3 cards alone can perform an OTK. And Chimera Tech Fortress, again, Cyber Dragon, Chimera Tech Fortress mainly for like mirror match. If you just so happen to play Cyber Dragon in your deck instead of Shining Angel, having Chimera Techs are useful in the mirror match or against any machine-based decks, obviously. And of course, Cyber Dragon helps you get into Nova, Infinity, and all that good stuff. And that's the end of the deck profile.